guys, what's up today? I come to you with another weekly review of Young Black Jack. Sorry about not reviewing the last episode, episode 8. I just it was hectic that last time, but here I am once again. In this week's episode, we get a couple of new characters. The one that we really are most focusing on is the character that goes by the name of Hayaki. And in particularly, he's different concerning to all the other characters that we have come across these past few episodes. And by different, I mean is he doesn't have any of this, or he doesn't have any legs. I'm not gonna cut my legs. Well, he doesn't have any legs, and the reason for that is because few years back is because he ended up having an accident, a car crash that robbed him of both his arms and his legs. And there's one thing I have to say is that looking on this episode and looking on many, when you look on many things in life, we take a lot of things for granted, the most simplest things, just because we have an arm and we have a leg, or we have our hearing or our eyesight. We take a lot of things for granted. And when you watch this episode, you realize that it's not easy losing an arm. You could just imagine how uneasy it is for him to live his daily life day in and day out, not knowing that he'll ever be getting back his arms or his legs, and he has to use prosthetic arms in order to do something as minimal as picking up a bottle of water or something like that. And we take these things that are just normal to us for granted. And the human life is very fickle. Okay, the simplest of cuts, or the simplest of a cold, can rob us of our hearing, our eyesight, or even our life. You think a simple cold can manifest into something bigger than that, and it can, and it could rob you of something that you hold dear, and you may not realize it, but it can. So for the little things that we take granted for, if you have not watched this episode and learned a lesson from it, well, the basic lesson is, don't take things for granted, and admire them, enjoy them, fulfill them to the best of their abilities, okay? Because life is short. You don't know when you can go, okay? So thank God, thank whoever you have for the arms, the legs, the head, whatever you got, and just go on with life, living a good life. So that was my little speech. So in this episode, we come to find out that Hayaki and Hazuma knew each other, and that they knew each other by Hazuma's surgery when he had as a child after that accidental explosion. And they both were in that surgery room with the person that they admired the most, Dr. Homa, who put back together Hazuma and allowed him to live a life once again. That's the whole reason why Hazuma is trying his best to become a doctor, because he's following the footsteps of the person who he admired most. And when Hayaki saw the surgery being done, he was also inspired to become a surgeon just like Dr. Homa. But unfortunately, he could not become a surgeon due to his accident. So he asks Hazama to perform a surgery on him. He told him he recorded, and in that recording he said, I'm only going to give you one step, and then you just do everything else on your own, because when you're doing a surgery, it's just you and the tools that's needed to operate on the patient. And the surgery is a success. He's not necessarily walking again, but his prosthetic arms and legs to allow him to perform surgeries where they can flip out different knives, different scalps, and all these things for him to perform on patients and do his classes. So the operation was a success. But that, in the case, was not helping Hayaki. One of his old classmates, who actually is not really a good old classmate, he actually wants Hayaki to have died during his car crash. He sabotaged his time to go do a surgery by telling him, we took photos, and the people who saw these photos of you doing this little class says they don't want him to perform this surgery that was in a couple of weeks. And this causes Hayaki to go kind of kind of angry. Right now you see him like contemplating like on his face like what he's going to do, and we don't know what he exactly he's going to do by next week's episode, but it's you can tell it's not very good, and you can kind of guess he's about to plant revenge on those who robbed him of what he wanted to do, because if he was able to do this surgery, it would allow him to marry his I guess his girlfriend Mio, a very beautiful light blonde hair female that was also introduced into this week's episode. He wanted to marry her after doing this surgery, and now he cannot do it, so therefore he cannot marry the girl of his dreams. And now this is just going to be a whole new mess. It looks like it's going to be a new arc that we're going to have till the very ending of Young Black Jack. So tell me your thoughts on this week's episode. What was your most favorite part? Which part had you, touch you the most in this week's episode? And do you realize like what was going on with Hayaki's best friend from the very beginning? Check us out on Twitter and on Tumblr. If you would like to become a member of our Facebook page, it's in the description box below. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later.